Welcome everyone who's coming in right now. Give it a couple minutes for everyone else to join in.
I see some names I know in that list.
And the good news is some names we don't know.
Exactly. Gonna get started at 02. Does that work?
Yeah, that's fine, which is about now anyways. All right, so welcome everyone who's here. I appreciate you coming. Today we have a great topic with two amazing speakers who I'm going to introduce. So we have Courtney Carace, who is the new president-elect of New England Pest Management Association, and Allie Allen, who wears a ton of hats, but officially is the NPMA Vice President of Membership and Certification. Both Courtney and Allie have great information today about how NEPMA and NPMA can help your business grow and have more structure. So without any further ado, I know you have a lot of stuff to hit on. Courtney and Allie, take it away.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And welcome, everyone. We had lots of people registered for this and some with the intent of watching the recording, which I appreciate as well. So the recording of this will be available and posted, but you all, as joining us live, get to ask questions and get to participate in the conversation. And we always set kind of the limit of if it's under 20 people, we can really treat this more as a conversation. And I think with the number of folks who have taken time out of their day to join us live, if folks are comfortable, love to give you the opportunity to take yourself off mute, turn on your video if you're comfortable doing so, and we'll do a quick round of introductions. I will say, if you are attending this from a vehicle and you are driving, please do not take yourself off mute and do not show your video, and we'll just skip right over you, and please drive safe. So I'm going to go through and looking at the participants list, call folks out on doing introductions. I'll give a start. So Allie Allen, as Adam said, and I am actually down in Fairfax, Virginia, and kind of near Washington, D.C. is where the National Pest Management Association is headquartered, but my roots are in the Northeast, and I used to be on the management side of the New England Pest Management Association. So loved the opportunity to give this presentation. My background is in industry, been in the industry for about 18 years, and been with NPMA for 10 years. So can answer a lot of the questions you may have, but if I can't answer it, I can find someone who can. So that is a theme hopefully you will hear come out through this is you are, as a member, you are joining a very connected community. And if you haven't felt the value of those connections, we encourage you to ask your questions, reach out, know your pain points, and know someone else in the industry has felt that too and gotten over it, and we can connect you with the people who can help you out. So with that, continuing on, I can manage this through the participants panel in terms of calling your names. I'll just go down the alphabetical order, take yourself off mute, and then put yourself back on mute when you're done speaking. Quick introduction, name, your company, where you're located, and I think the number of employees your company has is useful to know. So, Courtney, why don't you go next?
Courtney Carace. I am from Pest End, but more importantly for today, I am the president-elect of NEPMA. Have been involved with NEPMA for several years, have held many different positions, and am part of very many committees. And I'm also very heavily involved nationally with NPMA too. So very excited to have this conversation with you guys, and so you can make the most out of your membership. There are some hidden gems in there that I think that hopefully you guys can take something away from this today and really apply that to your business, or there's some money saving items that we can discuss too. So lots of good things in here that kind of are very exciting and not always talked about. So please ask all the questions today because we are here to answer them and get you answers if we don't have them.
Adam, do you want to add anything to your introduction?
No, I mean, I'm also from Pest End, sit on a bunch of committees. The biggest thing is if anyone knows anyone in Vermont that wants to get involved with public policy, definitely let me know because that's something we're looking for right now.
Awesome. Amanda, you're up next.
We'll just round out the trio. So I'm Amanda Forrestal. I'm the third part of the ownership of Pest End. We're out of New Hampshire, and I will add in that we have just under 100 employees. So I'm just here to support Courtney and Adam and Allie during this journey and listen.
Thanks, Amanda. Great. Get someone with the name Andrea on the line. Andrea, you want to take yourself off mute?
Hi, I'm Andrea, Dave's Pest Control, Sturbridge, Massachusetts. Been in pest control for over a decade, and we have about 8 employees right now.
Awesome. That is fantastic. Debbie.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I work for Ransford Pest Control. I'm the internal operations manager. So looking forward to this just in being able to help, do more things with the resources that NPMA offers. And we have 18 employees. We've been in business for over 100 years.
Awesome. I think one of the things that we love is we often know the ownership of a company, but when we start to get our relationships deeper into a company and that the member benefits are accessed by employees other than the owners of a company, that is a real winning scenario because the membership is at the company level and all of the member benefits for that company can be accessed by any employees. So you'll probably hear me say that a couple of times, but spread the word. Everybody can have access if your company is a member. So thanks, Debbie. Justin is driving. I'm not going to call you out, Justin. Morgan, you're up next.
Hi, I'm Morgan. I work at Freedom Pest Control. We have about 20 employees. I've been here for 2 years. I have like some long job title, but I do like operations. I do a little bit of everything. So
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining, Morgan.
Thank you.
Pan is also driving. Pan, I don't know if Pan came to annual dinner meeting last year. I'm not sure if he was there this year, but I knew him from a long time in the industry being down in Louisiana and has moved up to New England and continuing his volunteer service as he moved north. Maybe questionable this time of year. Hopefully you're doing okay in the cold there. But and then I am not going to call on our supernormal AI note taker. It's always interesting to see the different names for all these AI tools, but there's nothing that we're going to share here that an AI note taker will get too wrong. So perfectly fine to be there. So thank you again, all of you, for joining. Adam's going to help me out in watching the chat. I've got it open too, but I'm going to start looking at 2 screens here. Also, feel free to take yourself off mute, pop open your video, and just ask a question as I go through things. So with that, I'm going to proceed through my slides, which hopefully my screen is still being shared. I'm going to skip over the who are you in terms of taking polls, but just to know the industry that you are a part of, I think is important. A lot of companies will fall into those bucket of single owner operator, huge part of our industry. 2 to 9 employees is maybe the majority. 10 to 14, that's solidly a medium-sized company in my mind. You've got HR pain points and you're starting to hire the people who aren't related to you and you haven't met through church or the gun club. Like you've had to get outside your network to get employees, and that forces a small business to kind of encounter some challenges. 15 or more, you're starting to hit some federal rules around OSHA and HR type stuff. So you're starting to get really serious about how to scale right. When 15, 20, 25, there's some big waypoints in a company's growth in terms of how professional they need to be, aka reporting to the government type things. So your association is here to serve you no matter where you are in your growth journey. And hopefully out of this, you see some member benefits that, that speak to your company in each of these sizes. Another thing is kind of how your company was founded. Family business, 2 or more generations, started on your own, acquired a company to start. We see that a lot from entrepreneurs who are in plumbing, home services, landscape, and then they acquire a pest control company and get started. So that's always interesting and wonderful to hear how other industries do it. And then private equity is getting huge in our industry. And so that we do see that, including in New England. It's definitely happening. And then I think most companies at this point have a mix with residential majority, but all of these business models are present. I'm not sure, is there any company doing business in New England that's all commercial except for Ecolab? I don't know of any, but there might be, might be a small business that just really is all hotels or multifamily housing or something like that. So you are not alone if you fall into any of these buckets. And then specialty services is always interesting, especially in areas of the country where the bugs slow down in the winter. Wildlife, snow plowing, hanging Christmas lights, like all these different creative ways to keep the money coming in and not having to let people go through the winter months is very interesting. But more and more, we are serving properties with a year-round value proposition. And so those relationships continue right through the winter. So all of this is kind of to say, we get you and we are stand here ready to serve you. Your member benefits don't just apply to a company of a super large size at all. In fact, a lot of the large companies have all the resources they need internally. And so it's their support of the association that allows us to invest in resources for small businesses and help grow and lead the industry overall. Bit of the overview of the industry itself, about 17,000 companies out there, over 100,000 individuals whose lives are supported through the career that this industry offers, and about $11 billion in annual billing. Big numbers that we love, but in the grand scheme of things, we are smaller than HVAC or lawn and landscape. So we are still kind of a small community, even at that level. And I think it's interesting that one of our trade publications for the industry, so there's 3 places to be getting news in the industry: the PCT, Pest Control Technology, PMP, Pest Management Professional, and then Pest World Magazine, which is a news source for from National that you should all be getting as a member. But PCT publishes a top 100 list, and it's not a complete data set, but it's something. And I just think it's really interesting to see, the top is pushing $4 billion and the 100th company is around 7 million. That is a precipitous drop within the top 100 companies of an industry that has 17,000 industries. And it really drives home the fact that this is a small business industry. So now on the business of trade associations, that's a little bit about the pest control business, but trade associations are a thing. And again, I came from industry and am newish, a decade new to associations. The template of what a trade association is kind of copy and paste. What a trade association does is serve the industry that they're there to represent, and things like advocacy and lobbying, which both NEPMA and national do in collaboration at the national and local level. Industry standards and best practices, we're going to be talking about our credentialing bodies, Quality Pro, NPMA Pro certified. And then at the NEPMA level, there's the WDI registry, which is a certification program. Networking and member services, we have a ton of networking opportunities, and probably hearing who's coming from where. If you take advantage of anything, it's to find the conversation you want to be in and join it and start doing that networking opportunity. In New England, we've got a pest vets unit, we've got PWIPM. You can attend the committee and the board meetings. The board meets virtually, which is a great place to tune in. And I will say New England's got really healthy governance, and the board meeting, dare I say, is fun, and it's virtual, and like over 35 people join, which is just so bizarre and wonderful when the board is like 9 people. So, tuning in and just being in collaboration with your other colleagues. And it, again, it doesn't just have to be owners. So it's really great what we have to offer in terms of networking. Market research and data. So NPMA does have a lot of data that we put together, a compensation and benefits survey. We're right now working on a membership survey. We do an industry state of the industry report. So we do have some market research that allows you to benchmark your company with national averages. A ton around education and training, including webinars like this, in-person events where you can get your CEUs like NEPMA's spring training or the fall training. From national, I think the one that most people know is Pest World, but we run a lot of events in addition to that. Public relations and image building. Think of this as kind of like the Got Milk campaign for the pest management industry. It's getting the whole world to be thinking of the services that your company does and thinking, I need that. And so we have a whole division that's out there driving consumers to your company. And your action item there, which I'll hit on in a slide, is to make sure we know where your company does service. Update your service area zip codes in our system so that when a customer goes to pestworld.org and visits that Find a Pro and types in their zip code, they see a link to your company. Because without you telling us, the only zip code we know is where we send the bill, and that's not getting the most out of the value there. Legal support and representation, especially around bad PR. I will say that's where sometimes we get the reach out if a company has gotten in hot water or they want to avoid some hot water that they're seeing, they'll reach out to us for support. Collective purchasing and discounts. We'll talk about money saving programs that we can negotiate at a national level to benefit your company locally. And then fostering innovation. And that goes in hand with the networking piece of things. We are the place that hosts conversations, bringing together thought leaders like all of you to listen to the needs of the industry, share with each other so that this industry continues to grow, led by our trade associations. So this list was prompted by ChatGPT, just saying, hey, what does a trade association do in the United States? This was not about NPMA at all. But as you can see, I can go through the list of all the things that a trade association does and speak to how New England Pest Management Association and NPMA are hitting on all of these points. And everything that I said there's going to be slides to reinforce and back up what I was talking about. Just context of the country. I know everyone joining is from the New England region, but zooming out to the country and, well, North America even. If it's in green, it's a joint state partner with the National Pest Management Association. And what that means for a pest control company is where if your company is headquartered in one of these green states, then you join both national and the local level association in a combined joint membership agreement. And that allows us to leverage each other's resources, make sure there's no duplication of effort, and present the value of membership as this huge package of member benefits like we're doing today. So New England is one of our joint state partners. And sake of time and knowing people hopefully are empowered to shut off their turn off their mute and speak up if you have a business challenge that we're not hitting on. I'm not going to call on folks for this. I'm going to move right to the people. So you are unique in that you have over 30 people who show up to work every day simply to think about how to help your business grow and how to help the industry. And so this is the staff at NPMA in Fairfax. The photo was taken out at Denver at Pest World this year. But we are a solidly small, pushing on medium size trade association. And in the world of associations, the local level, like New England Pest Management Associations, has a smaller staff. And so that's another reason why the collaboration works so well, is NEPMA is managed by an association management company. So you'll know Sandy and Gary, and they're wonderful to help the New England leadership with the administrative stuff and to kind of stay on top of it. This group of folks, all we do is pest control industry. Like the leadership of NPMA, I've been here 10 years, and I don't consider myself one of the longest standing folks. The leadership of NPMA, most people have been in it for more than 18 years working for NPMA. So it's pretty cool in that respect. that all these folks are here ready to serve. On the NEPMA side of things, I think it is important for you to know your leadership. So these are the business owners and folks who work at member companies who have stepped up and given their time to become servant leaders of the association and care for the conversations that the association gets into and represent all of you and hopefully steer the association forward in a way that helps you and your businesses grow. So Courtney, anything you want to add on the NEPMA Board of Directors side of things?
So all I'll say is that, as Allie said, attend the board meetings if you can virtually. It's a great way for you to start to get to connect with these lovely individuals. We have a really great rapport. Sometimes the meetings can get a little lively, but they're a lot of fun. And I think every one of these individuals, there are a few people who aren't pictured. They weren't able to make the annual meeting last week. This is from our annual dinner, which was held last Wednesday evening. But I think what's important to note is no one came into these meetings or with the intention of, oh, I'm going to serve as a board of director. I'm going to get on the executive board. I'm going to be an officer. It kind of just happens organically. So as you start to become more engaged and more involved, this opportunity is available for anyone. And we're always looking for more volunteers, and you can only have one individual per company that sits on the board. However, there are other opportunities. If you have someone who's in your company who's already on the board, there are other ways for you to engage too. So the biggest message is just show up. I think we're a pretty good time. So.
And the best place to start showing up is that virtual monthly board meeting. You're going to just start hearing the workings of the association and get an idea of where you're like, I liked what they were saying. That's interesting to me. I want to do what they're doing. And then you do what we call joining a committee. And I've got a slide on that, but that's kind of the career path is you start to show up, be in the spaces where the association leaders are meeting. Then you put your hand up, serve on a committee or an interest group, and then eventually you get recruited probably to be on the ballot, to be on the board. But it's, I've got some slides on that as well. And I do think one of the things that NEPMA is unique in that the association covers multiple states. That's not something you see in the United States anywhere else. In Canada, there's some provincial associations that represent multiple provinces, but NEPMA is very intentional about making sure the leadership represents all areas of the New England region, the 5 states that are represented by our association. So everyone is welcome, and we have representation from all of the states, and that's not an easy thing. For a long time, you just saw a lot of Massachusetts, and that is no longer the way. And I commend New England on being intentional about that. I've now got like 2 things that I've said. If you remember nothing, remember this, and I'm sure that list is going to grow, but everything that I mentioned, if you go to npmapestworld.org, which is the NPMA website, it's a new website within the last 3 years. And the best part of it is the darn thing is searchable. A lot of websites have a search bar, but it doesn't actually do anything. The NEPMA or the NPMA website is highly searchable. And even within, when you start to get to the sub pages, you can search by keyword and format. So you're like, I need a recorded webinar on bed bugs. You can search that way. I need a CEU on cockroaches. You can search that way. And the resources are just going to float to the top in those search results. So spend some time playing on there. I used to give these presentations where I'd share my screen and I'd do a lot of clicking on the website. It's like, okay, I hope you remember those 20 clicks it took to get there. I don't have to do that anymore. Just go on the website, throw a query at it, and you'll get what you need. And if you don't, my contact information, Adam's being very helpful in throwing everything in the chat, npma@pestworld.org goes to an inbox that's manned by a bunch of people, including me. We will get you where you need to go. My contact information is also available. One thing, as you get more involved, you're also going to be hearing, and I mentioned them earlier. So in those things that a trade association does, I said PR and public relations. We have a PR arm. I mentioned under credentialing, we've got Quality Pro. Not all of these live within the National Pest Management Association, and they are separate entities that started because of needs identified by NPMA leadership. So many years ago, we've kind of set some goals, heard from our industry leaders, hey, we need to professionalize. We need to be an industry that customers value, will pay for. We need to be an industry that people want to work in and are applying for jobs in. We need to professionalize. And so out of that came a credentialing body, the Foundation for Professional Pest Management, which many of you will know as Quality Pro, and our new credential NPMA Pro Certified, and the Professional Pest Management Alliance, which is kind of that PR firm, not kind of, the money goes to a PR firm that does PR for the industry, and marketing arm, separate from your membership. So your membership dollars do not touch these as organizations. There are separate avenues to support these. And then the third one is the Pest Management Foundation, which is meeting that need of like, hey, we need to make sure we continue to get research that's relevant to what we do coming through academia. So the Pest Management Foundation funds research that's directly relevant to structural pest control and also funds scholarships for individuals who are pursuing careers in pest management, or we just want to support them. And we hope that they remember they got that money in their academic journey from a pest management association and think like, hey, I got a sales degree, but maybe there's a sales job for me in pest management. Hey, I got a business degree, but maybe there's something in pest management for me. Like it's, you want to be supporting our youth as they go through their college journey. And I know I'm unique. I'm one of the few people who got a college degree and actually used the darn thing. And I didn't think I would use my bug degree in my, so we do a lot of great work through that Pest Management Foundation. A little bit more about Quality Pro is, again, it's one of our credentialing bodies. It sets standards for companies that can teach you how to grow right. And a lot of the companies who are joining, just hearing who you're coming from, you are working for a Quality Pro accredited company. And so there are 18 standards that a company has to meet, one of which is a national exam, and that's how a lot of people know Quality Pro. But it is so much more than that national exam. There's a lot of standards around HR, because that is a huge pain point that a small growing business encounters. So even if you haven't applied for Quality Pro accreditation yet, I encourage you to look through the standards and read them so you can start to benchmark where your company is and which of the standards you're already meeting. And if you're even tempted a little bit at going for accreditation for your company, apply. Applying is the first step that gets you in the pipeline and gets you all of the resources like model interview questions and template applications and all sorts of stuff. It is a coaching process to help you meet the standards. Once a company is accredited, you can go on to earn certifications for your services. Green Pro is probably the one that has the most penetration in the New England region. A lot of that is founded by the fact that NEPMA used to pour some resources into something called an IPM registry, and that kind of got absorbed into our Green Pro certification program, which again are service certifications available to Quality Pro accredited companies. Our newest credential is not about the company and not about the services, but about you, about individuals in the pest management industry. It is a waypoint, a credential that you can hang on a person's career path around the 1-year mark. Certainly if someone's longer tenured in the industry and wants to earn this great credential, they are certainly welcome to join. But I do think it's worth noting because it's unique for credentials in the pest management industry that now we have a national certification that you can encourage your employees to earn to retain them around that 1-year mark. You know, states are very different in the way that they do licensing. Most companies will get licensing done within the first year or two. This is more than just licensing. It's a national certification, and state level licensing deals with health and safety a lot around pesticides. This is talking about safety. It's talking about customer communication and federal rules, things like that. So it is kind of capturing and solidifying that you are that well-rounded technician, but office folks can certainly earn it as well to represent all the knowledge that they have gained in doing their job. And I'm keeping an eye on chat. Again, if you have any questions, just stop me. And then a note on the certification program run out of NEPMA. Ooh, that slide has some auto advance. I'm going to probably be battling that for the next couple of moments. Yep. So NEPMA has the WDI registry. I think one unique thing, not super unique, but it happens in Massachusetts. You don't need a license to do WDI inspections. The association identified that as a problem. Anyone can go fill out the NPMA 33 form. And so NEPMA, in hitting that industry challenge or problem, has created a certification program that is created by the industry for folks who want to professionalize their WDI inspections. And no surprise, a lot of home inspectors value that certification program and come to NEPMA for their education and continuing education to get and maintain a certification around doing home inspections. So if your company does do home inspections and NPMA fills out the NPMA 33 form for real estate transactions, look into the WDI registry for your folks who do those. Moving over to the Professional Pest Management Alliance, that PPMA one, this is the consumer outreach arm. And this is where I mentioned updating your service area zip code. We send millions of people to this website every year through all of our PR campaigns. And our one directive is hire a professional, find a pro at pestworld.org. So make sure your company is findable by going to npmapestworld.org/service areas. If you're a company administrator at your company, then you are able to update your service area zip codes, and it is painless. You can search by whole state, whole county, a city, or add zip codes individually. So we make it easy for you, but you do have to log in and do it. And if you are attending this webinar and you go and you don't have access to that, it means you're not a company administrator. Write me an email, CC the owner of your company, say, hey, I want to do this today. I want to get it done. I'm sure they're going to say, yeah, you can add her as a company administrator. We're not giving you that much power by making you a company administrator. Mainframe is another one that comes out of the Professional Pest Management Alliance. So we create all of these amazing resources. We got Bed Bug Awareness Week. We got Rodent Awareness Week. We've got the Bug Barometer that the Weather Channel loves to latch onto. We've got PSAs that are out on free ad space on TVs and radio across the country. And we've got a lot of consumer research on what words attract people and all of that. Like I will say on this side, coming from the industry and being a professional purist here, when I see that word exterminator on our consumer facing website, it makes me cringe. But we have a ton of research showing that's how people are searching. And that's what people, so while we are battling that image, yes, and we are looking for the day that the data switches and we see that people are looking for pest management professionals, the day the research shows that word will switch. But for right now, we need to be findable. And once we got them, we're obviously going to teach them that we're a professional industry. But all of this is to say we've got this great research on how to market a company for pest management, and we make all of those resources available to the people who support the Professional Pest Management Alliance through different levels of support. So I don't know, anyone on the line want to speak to using Mainframe, which is where all the toolbox, where all the marketing resources are housed? Okay. Sometimes someone comes out of the woodwork. I don't know, Courtney, I don't know how much you guys use Mainframe or not.
Yeah, we do. Amanda does a lot of our social media, but especially related to the awareness weeks. We use a lot of that information. Rodent Awareness Week, Bedbug Week, Tick Awareness Week. It's content that's already curated for you. So especially for some of the smaller businesses who we know you're wearing many hats as an owner or a leader at your company. So it is a nice way where there's all this content already curated, tons of statistics, very visually appealing. And it just makes social media posting that much easier because you're not having to create things from scratch and you have all this information at your fingertips, which is very appealing to consumers.
Mm-hmm. Wonderful. I know some surprisingly large companies that use the social share images from Mainframe as the backbone of their marketing campaigns. So, if you're thinking about marketing as something that you need more of for your company, there are a million probably marketing firms out there knocking on your door to help your company do marketing. Look to resources created by your industry that really deeply get what you do, and see what's available and how much you could get done with a program like Mainframe. Moving on to the Pest Management Foundation, which is that one that funds research. So here's an example of the type of research that we fund. You can see it kind of from the title: investigate how contamination of household cleaners and other repellents affects German cockroach feeding behavior. That is directly relevant to what we do. And some of the results from these surveys are really surprising. We funded some research on the orientation of rodent bait stations on the efficacy of their control. So whereas a lot of government funded research happening out of academia, entomology departments are about grinding up the bugs and figuring out how they're related to each other, while that's important, it's not useful to us the next day. The research that's funded out of the Pest Management Foundation is going to help inform your services the next day. And a lot of the research coming out of that, you'll see presented at education programs that are hosted, but also you'll hear me talk about the Bug Bites podcast and the Pestology blog that's coming out of the NPMA technical team. We have 5 entomologists on staff at NPMA producing these great resources. What they do is make it accessible to you, making this peer-reviewed research accessible to you and your company, and talking about the research results and how it impacts your service protocols or your people. So tune into the Pestology blog, the Bug Bites podcast, or some of the library updates on NPMA's website. Again, you can also search by cockroaches and you're going to find this. And then the student scholarship program that I mentioned, I think one thing that is very cool is we are, again, promoting all of these things to the world outside of pest control. And this is really a success story. Our student scholarship program, NPMA, through the foundation, is able to offer 15 scholarships equaling about $24,000 in award money annually. And the way we get the word out to students that they can apply for these scholarships is actually getting to people. So I think the application period just closed on November 30th, and we had 1,300 applications. And I don't know those of you who have worked on the back end of scholarship programs, because a lot of organizations have scholarship programs. You're like celebrating if you get 10. Ours are found and seen and applied for, and all these people are learning about the pest management industry as they try and access this money. So it's really exciting way we're getting to students who are interested in professional development. New England has a scholarship program that's actually a really high value scholarship program. It's $3,000, which is a lot of money. I don't care what anyone says, it's a lot of money. I know it's a drop in the bucket when it comes to college, but it is a meaningful amount for someone. And this scholarship is available to employees of any PMA member companies. And Courtney, I don't know if you want to say anything else about this one.
Yeah, so we, like Allie said, we always encourage anyone to apply for this. Some years we have a ton of applicants and other years we don't. Some email blasts will be going out very shortly. Our application deadline is February 1st. It is not a super overwhelming, robust application process. There's a couple of questions there. It is a double-blind selection process, so no one knows anyone's names. Everything's redacted, and there is a committee that we all meet and we do this. So, there's no favoritism going on or anything behind the scenes. Allie previously was actually running this with us, and I know she spent a lot of time redacting all of the information out of it. But this scholarship was really founded because it's in honor of one of the founding members of NEPMA. And it was very important to give back. So we have that $3,000, which is available. And then we do a really nice presentation in March for the recipient. And then we'll have a check made out directly to the college when it comes time. So strongly encourage you to apply. If you have family members, if you have employees, we send it out to everyone on our team because we actually have some of our team members are actually in college right now. So it's a great way for people to apply. And again, not a super time consuming process, but strongly encourage you to take advantage of this because it is available every single year for our member companies.
And we have, New England has had recipients of folks who are graduating high school and going to college, all the way through adults who are working and completing degree programs on the side. So it is a really wonderful opportunity, and get the word out. This is one of the examples. I'm going to talk about award programs. Scholarships are part of award programs. Let any PMA pay for you to get the credit to celebrate an employee. I mean, we're going to have a party for your employee, and you can bring your leadership and you can bring their colleagues and have this big celebration, and press releases go out. And I mean, it is a total feel good thing, and it's real money going to the employee of the kids of one of your employees. And so when you think about all the things you can do to retain your employees and what value you bring to the lives of your employees or your coworkers, your association's benefits can be part of that. Winning a scholarship program, winning an award. Let us help celebrate and award your coworkers and your team members. This is a screenshot of the NPMA website. So I've just gone over some of the other programs, the other organizations. Now we're swooping back over to the benefits that truly live within the National Pest Management Association and the New England Pest Management Association. This is a screenshot of the NPMA website, and I kind of highlighted the areas of the website we're dwelling in. So this attend and advocate area. Attending events, I think, is what most people think of when they think of a trade association, especially in the pest control industry. We are known for the meetings we host, but we are so much more. And I do want to highlight all the really important advocacy work. So New England Pest Management Association and National have both through, writing checks to the right people to get the invite to the conversations, and then having volunteer leaders and folks who can speak from the street about what legislation does to impact our businesses. We make that happen. We identify who the relationships need to be with, we give talking points, and we put people in touch so that this industry can be heard by our representatives. And I don't think I have a slide specifically on public policy, no, but I want to I could speak on the national side of things, of all of the things that we do, but I think it's more important to speak directly to New England. So Adam, if I can actually put you on the spot for a moment to just highlight 2 or 3 things that the volunteer leadership of the New England Pest Management Association is doing to protect businesses through public policy.
Yeah, so we have a great group of people, and we're reformatting it a little bit now to have 2 people from each state of New England be aware of what's going on. And you get notified from National and then from myself on what is happening. You may attend a legislative meeting, but for those of you who are not aware, New Hampshire and Massachusetts specifically this past year, they both had rodenticide that they tried to ban. New Hampshire got very close to banning all glue boards. So any type of adhesive, so fly boards, all of that was almost gone. So there's a lot of back end work that we're doing to try and make sure that we're not losing tools from our toolbox. And anyone who's willing to show up and give their perspective really does help, because typically it's 1 or maybe 2 people from the industry against 15 to 20 people who are against what is going on. So we do a lot of, like I said, back end work to try and make sure we're not losing some of the things that we use every single day. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people don't realize how much our industry is being attacked on a regular basis.
Mm-hmm. So that just your membership dollars, even if you don't take advantage of the cool experience that being involved with public policy can give you as personally, your membership dollars, I think it's 50% of your NEPMA dues go toward public policy advocacy efforts, because we got to keep fighting and keep watching for threats to our industry. And that is something that your association is doing every day. But it is cool. Like, talk to Adam, say, hey, I'm interested in that. I'd love to be a part of that conversation. If you're an expert in that conversation and totally comfortable in it, you probably are going into politics. The people who get involved to do public policy with trade associations as volunteer leaders, they need the talking points and they need to be coached, and that's fine. National is here to coach you through. We have public policy nerds who this is their whole career, is doing trade association policy. They're here to hold your hand and make sure you don't look like an idiot. They put you together with the right people and kind of teach you how to have meaningful conversations. So definitely do speak up if you're like, that's interesting. I want to go, talk to my representative. And we have opportunities for you to do that here in Washington, D.C. too. I'm going to fly through the events part of this conversation, because if there's anything that associations are good about getting the word out on, it's their events. So you can register for events at a member rate. That is the membership piece of our events. If you attend events or networking opportunities as a non-member, hopefully for the next year, you consider joining to get access to all of the other things. But New England hosts a whole bunch of events. If you go to nepma.org, you'll see all of the different opportunities. Spring training in March and the virtual fall training in November are the big CEU conferences that are held, but we've got a number of other opportunities like core coaching workshops if you have folks that need to be coached to take the Massachusetts core exam, things like that. And then for New England, I know this is being recorded, or for national, so I'm just going to slow scroll through these. If you're watching the recording and want to pause to take the details, you're welcome to do so. Legislative Day is that one I will pause here. If you want to go to Washington, D.C., New England brings a great contingent of folks. If you want to start somewhere, coming to Legislative Day and being with the NEPMA folks at Legislative Day would be such a cool experience for you. I mean, you're in Washington talking to representatives, and anyone from New England who goes to Legislative Day gets invited to a really cool dinner at a really cool restaurant every year. It's one of the things that NEPMA does every year. So come to put it as a goal in your life to get to Legislative Day, and your fellow folks at NEPMA will take care of you if you show up. Women's Forum happens every May. And then Academy, I'll pause here. It's in July, which is a really difficult time to get away. July is also when it's really cheap for you to get a hotel night in a really hot place like Arizona, California, or Florida. So the timing isn't great, but the price point is lower on this one. Academy is you'll hear it described a little bit as summer camp for adults. And although we cringe a little bit at that because it undermines the education value of this conference, there is a lot of great education content, but it's not CEUs, it's not cockroaches and bedbugs, and there's not an exhibit hall. It is the goal of this event is to build your professional network within the industry and grow your professional skills. And so the presentations are on body language and executive presence and managing people. And then throughout the whole conference, you're on a team, and it is cutthroat. And I just tune in to the Carace's LinkedIn profiles in the month of July to just get a taste of the level of competition that happens between teams at Academy. But it is a very cool conference, another great way for you to build your network. This one does involve travel, though. I am going to be talking about one networking opportunity you have available to you called Hives. That is virtual. If you can't get away, that's fine. We still have ways for you to grow your professional network. Pest World's the one that most people think of. It's great. If you can get to Pest World, do it. For women in the industry, we do have the PWI PM Empowerment Grant, which comes with a free registration to Pest World, $1,000 towards your travel to Pest World, and $1,000 towards your professional development budget. So for women who are attending, know that it does make it easier to attend Pest World. Worth noting, yes, we do book Pest World 10 years out. I know it's crazy. We'll be back in Boston in 2027. So there will be a Pest World Boston in 2027, and NEPMA always great co-hosts of that meeting. And then under your team and tools, this is the area for all of the technical resources that I think people think, I bet National has that, but you don't really know that in depth. This is the area to explore on the website, your team and tools. Again, highly searchable, but we have an online learning center with over 48 courses. You can earn remote CEUs, on-demand CEUs in all of the states of New England. So obviously going to an in-person event for the networking value is really important, and NEPMA always puts on programming that's directly relevant to things that are happening in New England. But if you just need a quick credit, know the online learning center is there. And we also have some great courses that have been developed through our committees, like the new hire training. So if your company doesn't have a comprehensive new hire training, look into that. It's a great course that a lot of companies rely on. We've got a lot of technical resources, but like best management practices and guidelines for doing work in different spaces. That pestology blog I mentioned, the NPMA Field Guide app, which is an app on your phone, and you can take a picture of something and email it directly to those staff entomologists that I mentioned. That is a resource, and having that remote technical department kind of is available to members. So we do screen for membership before replying to those bug ID pictures that we get, but it is available. Lots of companies will put the Field Guide app on everyone's phones. The bug store is where you go to register for online learning opportunities, and it's also where you buy hard goods like pest posters and manuals. We've got a safety handbook, posters for all the different pests, all the NPMA forms to do your wood destroying insect inspections. Those are all in there. And then we've got recorded webinars, pest photos. Don't don't rip off illegally someone's picture of a wasp. Use one that's available without any sort of a watermark on it that you get as a member. You can use those to build out your website and put on your forms. Research updates. We've got an OSHA toolbox. Again, there are so many resources available. If you need something, ask. If you know you've got a pain point in your company, just write us an email and we're going to point you to the resource that can help you meet that need. Coming down the home stretch here, we're going to leave 5 minutes for questions. It was a small enough group that I trusted you guys would put your questions in the chat as we go, but we are going to have 5 minutes of me being awkwardly quiet for a moment so you guys could ask your question. But home stretch here, your business. So you think of National as having a lot of technical resources, knowing the pest side of things. We also have a lot of resources on your business development side of things. So we do have lots of articles in our magazine, guidelines. We've got a whole workforce development program that has things like interview questions, model job descriptions, a job board. On that job board, every member company has one free posting a year. So do make sure that you're taking advantage of that if you have a job that you're hiring for. And then a lot of money saving programs. The newest of our discount programs is Continental Tire. So if you need new tires, see what that NPMA member discount will get you. A rebate program on new Nissan vehicles. We've got an insurance program. ARM Solutions does collections. And then C Management Associates is an HR company that you can pick up the phone and ask your HR questions to. If you're having an issue with an employee or facing an HR related challenge of your company, pick up the phone and call C Management Associates. They'll probably talk you through it without charging you anything. But if it turns into a bigger project like an employee handbook or something like that, NPMA members get, I think it's like a 25% discount. It's a pretty steep discount on their work, and they get us. They've been working with the pest management industry for years. I talked about Pest World Magazine as being a great source of news. I talked about pest control jobs. We're really in the home stretch, and I've brought most of these things up. So the final section is engage. We started with it, we've mentioned it, and I'll end with it. Just step into the conversations, get involved, get engaged with your industry colleagues. There are others like you, and we would love to connect you with them. So write us an email of the types of challenges you're facing or the type of people you want to be put in the same space with, and we'll connect you. We've got a lot of leadership development programs like the Executive Leadership Program and Leader Launch, which trains future board members up and future volunteer leaders. And this Hives program is the one that I mentioned that's available virtually. So if you want to meet other folks in the industry, just from the comfort of your home or your cell phone after work, that there are times available all throughout the day for every time zone for people to be paired up with others in the industry and learn different perspectives and get your challenges addressed by a group of industry peers. And we've got an online community as well, my.npmapestworld.org. There's a handful of the communities listed there. Probably the biggest communities there is we've got the open forum, which some of you will be getting emails from every day, I'm sure. There's a safety community, there's a human resources community. So they're discussion boards that are exclusive to NPMA members. So you can go on there and ask your questions. It's also highly searchable. So you can go to my.npmapestworld.org, search for topics and see what questions others have asked. So that's another virtual way to access the community that you have joined as becoming a member. And interest groups, you'll also see hosting a lot of networking events. For you all, the most relevant are going to be New England. NEPMA has a Pest Vets unit and a Professional Women in Pest Management chapter. But here, like Courtney said, this is the list of all of the committees that any PMA has. And all of you here are welcome to join any of them. Just speak up, raise your hand, you'll be welcomed in, and most of the work is done remotely. So it doesn't, travel not required. We try and make volunteer leadership very accessible. All the awards programs, I've mentioned most of these as I've been talking, especially PWIPM Empowerment Grant and the award programs from New England. We've got a Professional of the Year, Woman of Excellence, Vendor of the Year. Again, ways we can help you celebrate your great people. And so in conclusion, get involved, share your voice, speak up. The service year for New England starts January 1st, but you can join anytime. Speak up, you're going to get invited to things. And then on the national side of things with committees and boards, the service year begins July 1st along with the membership year. So with that, any questions? When is the next hive? Great question, Morgan. Thank you. So we run hives. There is a hive running right now, and then we'll do one more in the early spring. So they happen in the fall over Pest World, in the winter months, unfortunately over the holidays. So it's always interesting. This is probably the period that gets the lowest attendance. And then we have a period that I believe begins in March. But the sign up form, if you go to the website, npmapestworld.org, under that engagement area, you'll see an area for hives and you can sign up.
And they can sign up now for the next round, or?
I believe so. I'll check with Alexis. If not, shoot me an email and I'll make sure to let you know when the form goes live.
Thank you.
Awesome. Justin, I see your comment, no questions, but have a short list of items to look into further. That's great. Again, we have so much that hopefully something I said piqued your interest and like, yeah, maybe we could use that. You know, if you don't find it really quickly, write us an email. We'll point you right in the right direction.
I do want to take just a quick minute to, again, plug the scholarship deadline, which is February 1st for New England. And then we also have a couple of awards that we also give out at the dinner in March after the training. So we have the PWIPM Woman of Excellence Award, which is open to a regional award open to anyone in New England, any woman who has made an impact in the industry and in your actual company. So please feel free. Again, it's a very short nomination form. That deadline is also February 1st. The recipient receives recognition in the industry. They also receive a $100 gift card and a really nice plaque. So that is a huge one. And then we also have the Professional of the Year as well, which is given out in March as well. And that's recognizing anyone in the industry in New England who has made an impact on their company. So technicians, customer service reps, managers. It's really open to anyone. And we would encourage you to just go to the NEPMA.org website, and the applications are there and they are currently open. And then our final big award that we actually just gave out last week is our BART Award, which that is our premier award. And that's someone who has made a long-term commitment to the pest control industry in New England. So it's just another way for you to engage your team and give them benefits. So please, please take advantage of that. We are always looking for awesome candidates, and they're encouraged to attend. Their family can come. There's great pictures and photo ops and all that. So that's my one plug for the things that are kind of coming down the pike very shortly.
Yep. And if you're not receiving emails from National and New England, then there's some stop on your end, and let's root it out and figure that out, because you should be getting emails weekly from NPMA, and this time of year probably weekly from NEPMA as well. Deadline for those award programs is February 1st. All the applications are easy to find online, nepma.org, and there's just an area of the website that says awards. Click there. It's going to be really easy for you to see the process, nominate someone, or apply.
All right, with that being said, I want to thank both Courtney and Allie for the time. Obviously, it seems like we got some really good feedback already. Thank you for everything you guys talked about. Anyone in the group chat or watching it, as they mentioned, if you have any further questions or follow-up questions, you can reach out to Allie, Courtney, myself, and we'll try and help you in any way that we can. Would like to plug our next business series is going to be on January the 16th at 10 a.m. and it's on hiring, specifically veteran hiring in the Skill Bridge program. So that's a great thing for people to be aware of as we're getting into the really hiring time of our season. So if anyone has any questions on that, reach out, but look forward to that sign up coming out very shortly. Again, thank you everyone, and I appreciate your time, and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone, and happy holidays.
You too.